forward. All right, welcome. So this is about Ramadan, and that's a month of fasting that Muslims go through all across the globe, all of them at the same time. We follow the lunar calendar, so it's at the 9th month of the lunar calendar every year. And we dry fast from sunrise to sunset, and this varies from time zone. It varies by different countries. So for example, in some countries, it may only be a 15-hour fast, whereas here in North America, you're looking more at 18 to 20 hours. As the month progresses, the day will get longer. So at least for now, until it goes in like December. So that means that for me in Edmonton, I'll be opening my fast at around 8:30 at the beginning of the month, and as the days get longer, it'll be an extra hour. So it'll be 9:30 p.m. towards the end. So that's just something to take into account. Okay, so I'm just going to go through some of the traditional things that people typically do. Now, not everyone, and not everyone practices it the same way. There's like obviously the religious definition, and then people have, their own like level of commitment to how they're going to do it, right? But typically, if Muslims, like if they have been drinking alcohol, they will stop. And if they've been smoking, they'll stop, because obviously that breaks the fast. They take fasting very seriously. It's just simply because literally from the time you hit puberty, you start fasting. Doesn't matter if it's summer or hot or cold, you just do it. Unless you're sick, or if you're pregnant or diabetic, or there's medications that you need to take and your doctor has said you can change the schedule, then you are exempt from fasting and you don't have to do it. The main idea is, spiritually, is that this was the month in which the scriptures, like our Quran, was revealed to the Prophet. So there's a lot of other historical events that happened in this month, but this is a month that when Islam came, this was a month that in the time of the Prophet, Muslims would prepare for it for about 6 months. They would just start practicing. So they'll start fasting, maybe like eating less food, giving more charity, that kind of stuff. Some things that Muslims will do in Ramadan typically is they'll be praying a lot more and giving lots of charity and getting together with family to eat that evening meal. So I think, so some of them will get up in the morning to eat before the time kicks in. And some people will just eat before they go to sleep. And it just depends on their schedule. So let me now, I think that's like a good overview. I'll just go into some like nutrition and training considerations. So again, like Ramadan food tends to be deep fried and, lots and lots of carbs. And there's a lot of emphasis on, hold on, let me just let her in. Hi, welcome.
Not blow dry. Did you like it straight? Air dry. Air dry? You don't like it blow dry? No.
Okay, muted. Where was I? Forgot. Oh yeah, so the food tends to be like, very like, there'll be some healthy items, but no one wants to eat salad. They've been fasting all day. Salad is going to be the last thing. However, we will try and incorporate veggies into various things, but the main idea is there's a lot of focus on deep fried foods. Now, your clients could be originally, they could be Arab, they could be from Africa, they could be Asian, right? So then their food is different. It wouldn't be like what I would be eating, because Muslims come from over 100 different countries speaking like a couple of 100 different languages, which is pretty neat. So it helps to find out what their background is or what kind of food preferences they have, and then you can just adjust that for them. But overall, if you ever like Google Ramadan recipes, you will find like the worst kinds of foods that people pull out in Ramadan. Like it's just, like I said, lots of really oily, deep fried, and very carb heavy. Protein tends to be there, but it's just more about like the spring rolls and wraps and samosas. It's a lot about like yogurt based dishes, because typically, Muslims, if they're grown up in some of the hotter climates, they're used to eating a lot of yogurt because it's cooling in the evenings. So okay, so then we want to help them make better choices. That's basically it. So if you're doing macros, these recipes, they don't have macros. It's like fats, carbs, that's it. I'm going to share a couple of links. I'll just post them back on the Facebook group so that they are there. But what happens is, Facebook links for a book that you can get. I know another trainer, she has developed a book with a bunch of experts for workouts and things like that. If you want to look into that, and I'll put a link, a couple of YouTube channels. But anyways, let's just wrap up nutrition. So typically, what I would recommend is like slowly, what you want to look up is dry fasting and how to eat with dry fasting, or even intermittent fasting or OMAD, right? So from a fitness point of view, if you look into these philosophies, you'll get better information on how to guide them for Ramadan. So 1 meal a day, or dry fasting, intermittent fasting, we want to look into things like, if the first thing that you eat is literally going to spike your insulin, and that needs to be controlled, because the minute let's say it's time and I go grab like a whole bunch of dates, we typically open our fast with dates, and sometimes people will also drink milk, and then the milk will be sweetened with some kind of syrup. Blah. And it's actually delicious, but now that I think about it. So all these things come into play. So what they're doing is they actually are just putting themselves in that fat storing mode, and that's detrimental. So what I usually recommend is, at that point, your thyroid is also very sensitive. It hasn't, you haven't eaten anything. So I usually recommend, I start my clients on bone broth. I'm like, make a whole bunch of bone broth, freeze it, and open your fast with. You can have a date, but have some bone broth, because it'll provide you with some minerals, and also provide a little bit of like a slow release, as opposed to just attacking your food, which is what we typically do. It's very hard for us to resist, because the table's laid out with tons of food, and we tend to eat really fast, because at the time of opening our fast, there's a prayer, because we have those 5 prayers, and one of them is at the sunset. So we'll like really eat fast, and then we'll pray, and we'll come back and eat some more. So so bone broth is good. Selenium, anything that's rich in iodine, that would be a good thing as well, again, to help support the thyroid, especially for women, men or women with any thyroid issues as well. So I would bring that in first, and again, slowing it down. So bone broth with some kind of light protein is a good combination. And then you can tell them, hey, go do your prayers. If they pray, you don't want to, I shouldn't say that to you, but you can just say, just put a gap, right? Like put a gap, or just have something light and then put a gap, and then eat your main meal, right? And that's what happens is headaches are very common, and low energy and lethargy. And that this comes down to because they're eating the wrong foods, and also because now the caffeine is out of their system. So you want to start telling them now things like, hey, if you're going to be fasting, start reducing your caffeine intake now. So encourage them towards green teas, maybe towards kombucha, towards any other alternatives that are lower in caffeine, because literally the first thing that's going to hit them are headaches. I did a survey, and I thought hunger would be at the top. Hunger doesn't bother us. We're just so used to doing it, and we keep ourselves busy that for I think 77% of my respondents on the poll, headaches was on the top. And the other thing I would tell them to do is to start increasing their water intake, but not just water, electrolytes as well. So I'll tell them get like low sodium salt, which tends to be higher in potassium, sodium, and for sodium I say pink salt, and magnesium like citrate, because it's fizzy, so it makes like a nice electrolyte. They can add lemon juice and make it into a lemonade and any kind of a sweetener, and that increases their electrolytes. So I would probably say that, tell them to do that like a couple of, like 3 to 5 days early, and then keep that up. That could be their go-to drink in Ramadan as well. So I think that's pretty much it. The rest of the nutrition, it depends on their goals. Like if they're weight loss, then this is great for calorie control, really. It's very hard to eat over 1,000 calories, because then you're just going to be bloated and stuffed. And that's the whole point. Like the point is to really have a detachment from food so you can focus on other things. Now, from the benefits of fasting, there is autophagy, there is, stem cell repair and tons of things like that. But also, fasting allows your body to go into ketosis. And that means that it's using the stored fat as fuel, right? Which is great, because if we are metabolically flexible, like if we can train our bodies to switch between using fat as fuel and using the incoming carbs and sugar as fuel, then it also boosts our immunity. So this is another thing to encourage them to, hey, you know what, if you're going to be fasting, then that's great. If you're looking for weight loss, you can boost this by doing XYZ. Okay. So now what happens is the night progresses. So we have like the 5 prayers. And again, like not everyone's going to be praying. If they're fasting, they may not be praying. But our prayers are physical. So we bow, and then we prostrate, we go down, and we come back. Oops, we come back up, and we do that about 4 to 8 times. But in Ramadan, we have about 10 to 20 of these patterns, right? So again, the mosques are closed in most cities, so most people are probably not, are just going to skip it. It's easier to go to the mosque and do the prayer because they're open, but at home, I don't think most people are just going to attempt to replicate that. I'm a little lazy like that. So anyways, those are optional, but a lot of people love to go because, it brings the whole community together. So if you find that your clients are staying up late because of these prayers, they'll typically be about 2 hours after the evening meal, then again, you want to tell them something about, eating before, after, right? And then after the prayers, they may eat again, just because of the scarcity mindset that, oh my God, if I don't eat, how am I going to get the energy? But actually, we really, really don't need it, because the body should go into ketosis and we should have energy from that. So they may eat after those night prayers and then go to bed, or they'll probably get up at 4 a.m., 3 a.m., eat something light. And that's again, there's going to be, Arabs will do olives, soft cheese and bread. If they're like for South Asians, they'll do again, like this pita, roti or paratha with maybe like a kebab. And I don't know what other cultures do, but again, like there's usually not enough protein, and it tends to be like bread based. So you can tell them at that time something like to incorporate healthy fats and a good chunk of protein. Because again, like slow digestion, and also whole grains, if they haven't, eaten up all their carbs for the day, it would be worth it to have whole grains if they're waking up early. But I wouldn't say to eat whole grains before they go to bed. If you're going to sleep, then I mean, I don't know. It just depends on, again, your philosophy and stuff. But typically in the morning, I would do whole grains. But now it's just because the time is so short that most people are just going to eat before they sleep, especially because they have to go to work. Now, I know David, he's in Malaysia. So for Malaysians, everything shuts down, right? So if you're in a Muslim majority country, you get like shorter work hours, you go to work late, and then the bazaars, like the markets, are open all night long for shopping. So that's what they do. They'll do the night prayers, and they go shop, and they'll prepare for the big festival that comes at the end of the month, and they'll buy lots of gifts. And then literally the whole scene is switched. It's like Muslims clubbing, non-alcohol style. It's hilarious. But so that's why we love Ramadan, I think, because, you just get to stay up like teenagers all over again. I think for David, just taking this information and then, you know, adjusting your clients' macros and things like that. But here's the thing, I would subtract 200 to 400 calories because the extras are going to come in. You know, they might take a taste of this or a dip of that. A lot of Muslims, we send food to each other. Like I will, you know, make entire like boxes of food and I'll send them because I can't invite people over, but typically we'll invite people over, like 10 to 20 people, and just feast together because there's extra rewards in the religion for feeding someone who may be going hungry, like they may not, you know. But of course we don't really, I mean, we do a lot of charity in Ramadan, like charity just goes through the roof, but we also love feeding each other, and it's just that community thing. So your clients, like, it's very hard, you know, and I don't know where you are, if it's a Muslims, I mean, if there's a lot of Muslims around them or not, whether they have this community feel, but I would definitely say, like, keep the calories on the lower side, because a lot of these extras are gonna get in. Like now everyone has already started making their Ramadan meals, and like those frozen meals, so you can buy kebabs and rolls and wraps and things like that, and just, you know, throw them into your freezer. So a lot of these women are selling this kind of stuff from their homes for people, for busy people. And so you just never know what shows up in their houses. And then they're just munching on that mindlessly at night. And that's just hard to control. But if they are eating, you know, under their calorie intake, hopefully this helps them. And then, you know, you can give them a little bit of slack. Hey, it's okay. Just maybe do one grain-free day a week, or one day where you actually double down on your vegetables. You know, just kind of give them tips like that, and then leave the rest to God when it comes to their actual progress. Okay. So the next aspect is the training. Now, when you're fasting, the best time to do your workout is actually the end of your fast. But for Muslims, it's really hard, because if your clients are women, towards the end of the fast, that's when they are the busiest in the kitchen. I've been able to change that, like, you know, as a trainer, but till this day, my mom is literally like carrying the pots and pans from the kitchen to the table as the prayer, you can hear the prayer going on, and and it's time to open the fast. It's like, it's madness. Like, Mom, we don't need this much food. But, you know, we're just so set in our ways that way that we're really busy in the kitchen that time. So I would definitely encourage your clients to be like, hey, get that out of the way, because you know what, you want to be able to sit down and relax and eat your meal. You don't want it to be rushed where you're just like, oh, I still got to do like 10 more dishes. So teaching them to simplify, like, you know, less is better. Less will actually even help them with their bloating problems and low energy problems. And this will maybe allow them to think about a little bit of meditation, a little bit of yoga at that time, or something physical, right? Because physical activity tends to go down. So before you open your fast, at the end of your fast is the best time in terms of like weight loss benefits and autophagy benefits and things like that. But here's the thing. The actual best time would be when the sunset comes in. I can drink water and then I can train. And for me, I can do that. No, none of them will want to do that because that's the time when they sit down with their families. Okay, so if they're able to train in dry fasted state, which I have done, and it's actually doable. I've done a dry fasting and like with a stupid mask on, and it's doable. But again, you don't want your clients fainting and being like, "Oh my God, my trainer said that I have to do it at the end of my fast." Okay. Otherwise, they can eat their meal and then train at night if they're not doing the night prayers. If they're doing the night prayers, then they should do it they should do their workout right after the night prayers. And you can give them some options, like maybe shorten the warm-up, maybe reduce the number of sets and reps, or if it's like a follow-along video, tell them to do like 20 minutes, you know, just sort of shorten it for them. Which will probably help, and which will give them motivation to do it, because they'll probably be inclined to just skip the workout altogether. And again, like, I don't know how addicted your clients are to exercise. Mine are complete beginners, so I'm really worried about them because I know the exercise is going to go out the window. But if they're not beginners and they love their training, then they will find a way to do it, even if it means that they're skipping the prayers. And I think, yeah, so they can also maybe train in the morning. Again, I wouldn't recommend that, because if you train in the morning and you're dry fasting, you can't drink water, then you're just going to be thinking about like how thirsty you are all day long. So it has to be in the time when it's like evening. But you never know, right? Like they also have to look at their work schedule, their family schedule, and all of these things, and like find those like 30 minutes to work out. So the last thing is activity. Most especially if they're stay-at-home moms, you know, or and they don't have to be out and about, or if they're working from home, their activity level is going to go down, their steps are going to go down. It's just, you know, everyone's sort of in like energy conserving mode. But we see, and we've seen that in like Muslim countries, like the construction workers, any kind of laborers, you know, anyone that has to go out and about, like they are still able to function fine. You'll see kids fasting, playing like cricket and, you know, football or soccer, like all day long. Like it doesn't really affect their energy levels. So it's really a mindset thing. So we got to encourage our clients to be like, you know what, stay active, stay on your feet. And if you're feeling low energy, then just channel better food habits in the evening. Some other symptoms that will show up that they might ask you about would be lethargy, heartburn, and heartburn comes from, I think, the spices in their food that's just hitting their system. What else? Headaches, like I said, headaches are going to be the biggest thing, so make sure you prepare them. And I did a poll. Let me just pull that up. What else was on there? They'll say lack of sleep. Yes, sleep is the other thing that does get disturbed in Ramadan. So you can encourage them to take a nap. Like, I mean, there's really not much you can do, but tell them to not waste time. This is something that really, like, I have to help my clients become more productive. So I'm always telling them, don't waste time. Like, it's okay if the dishes are piling up, but go get your sleep first, because if you're not sleeping well, then you're cranky, angry, you've got this mood swings throughout the day, you can't even eat, and then you will make bad food choices. So it lasts a whole month. The first 20 days, you know, are usually up and down. Now the last 10 days are supposed to be the best days of Ramadan, and that's when the night prayers double up. Okay, that when I said that we'll have 20 prayers in the beginning, now it's like even more. We spend a lot more time reading Quran. We're probably listening to lots of like sermons and lectures and things like that. And there may be more food being shared because it's closer to Eid, and you know, families are really excited. But again, like the food choices tend to get worse in the last 10 days, but also the focus is completely off, because everyone is sort of up praying at nights. Because one of the sayings of the Prophet is that if you want to seek forgiveness from God, you want to seek it in the last 10 nights of Ramadan. So everyone's just up crying. We do cry and get emotional thinking about, you know, the wrong things that we've done, whether it's hurting people or, you know, making bad choices, whatever it is. So there's a lot of emphasis on that, because we really want to come out of Ramadan as like a new person. It's supposed to be transformative. People literally go back to their coffee and alcohol and smoking and everything like right off the next day. I don't really see a lot of people actually transforming, but there is, you know, some internal changes, like some spirituality that they've accomplished, and they do have that desire to keep it up. It's really like how you guys do New Year's. You know, we do it twice a year. We'll do the New Year and the Ramadan, and like not succeed at both, I think. so that's like double whammy. And then you're like, I can't stick to my resolution. So a lot of women, or men and women, will try and keep up their fasting habit, because in the next month after Ramadan, it's recommended to fast a minimum of 6 days. Women on their periods will not fast. Right, it's just the time that we're exempt because of the difficulties of going through that. So that's cool. Women will get that 1 week break in the middle if their periods are regular. And yeah, I think, you know, just comes down to encourage them to stay active, early caffeine reduction to help with the headaches, and just really giving them better food choices, like, you know, lean proteins, and staying away from fried foods as much as possible. Encourage them to use their air fryer. Encourage them to have like a grain-free day, and another day where they double or triple on their veggie intake. You know, drinks are really good. Like there's always some kind of pitcher on the table with filled with sugar, so you can give them options for like some kind of sweetened, you know, sweetened teas. So they can do like a green tea pitcher with mint in it. Or they can do like hibiscus tea, you know, just things like that. Whatever, honestly, whatever you come up with, what it's then is up to them if they actually follow through or not. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I really hope I covered everything. And I know, Nicole, you had posted some questions in the group. Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, I have like some questions that I've been writing down. If that's cool with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned that basically like you have these meals set up on the plate or anything. Can you sway away from this? Like, does everyone kind of, are they strict to that where it's like, okay, everybody's eating the same thing? Or can you sway away from that? Or would that be like wrong if my client was having different meals or different, anything like that?
No, that would be totally fine. Yeah. They
Okay.
don't have to eat. But if, let's say if they're having it with family, then everyone just forces each other to like stuff themselves. So that willpower needs to come into play.
Got it. And then, let me see. For the women on...
The only thing that they may not want to sway away is to open their fast with a date. Have you ever had a date, the fruit?
Oh, yeah.
It's like a little small and brown. Yeah. So they may, that's because again, it was a habit of the Prophet, peace be upon him. And dates are actually rich in nutrients and obviously carbs. And the thing with dates is that they're available all year round in any country. So it just made the most sort of sense. But we treat that as like almost a religious thing. Like, oh, we got to open it with dates. I actually stopped doing dates. Yeah, dates are dates are actually delicious, but that's probably the only thing that you don't want to take away from them. So, but everything else is fine. They should eat and make better choices if they want those symptoms to go away.
Okay, cool. And then what about, so when they get their period, do you do you ask about it in advance, like what week they're gonna get it? And do you change anything for them, or would you rather them stay on the same eating window?
They'll probably stay in the same eating window because, again, like depending on the family setup, they may not want their family members to know that they're not fasting. So a lot of women and girls will just pretend like they don't want their brothers to, let's say, no, or, you know, it's just, yeah, it's just like a cultural thing. So they may pretend like they're fasting, but they're actually eating in the kitchen when no one's looking, type of thing. But no need to ask about them. Just tell them that if you're not fasting in any of the days, go back to your regular workout. You know, they can then just do it during the day and get it out of the way. Then it's not in the nighttime where it's like crazy busy.
Okay, cool. I think that was it.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, and then can you just remind me of the dates? Like that
it should start April 14th.
Okay, until May 14th?
No, it'll be like 29 or 30 days max. So okay. May 13th, I think. And the day that's like our Christmas. And it's a huge like deal. We get together, we pray outside in like huge arenas and stuff. But I don't know if that's happening this year. A lot of families will get together and what do you call it? Will probably do their own prayers. And, you know, I don't know if your clients are religious at all. They might just not do those things, but there's going to be a lot of sweets, like you guys do Christmas like cookies and things like that. You know, and we love those like deals and sales like after when they go on sale. But the Ramadan is like when it comes to sweets, it's like Christmas on steroids. All the traditional ethnic stuff comes out, like, you know, women like spend literally 2-3 days preparing and sharing. So I'll probably find, once my guide is ready, I'll find some you know, healthier options. But if they do like low carb, keto, or, you know, low sugar sweets, then that's like a good alternative for them. I would tell them, I always tell my clients, like, make sure you prepare your treats for that day. Don't just be standing on the side looking and drooling over it and saying, oh, I can't have that, but have your own alternatives. Right? There's no reason why you should miss out. And if they want to pig out, that's fine. I would tell them to go back to fasting like the next day.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh wait, last question. For hydration, do you just, I know you mentioned about just electrolytes and, you know, incorporating salt and things like that. Do you just have them like hydrate like crazy when that window's kind of open? Just drink a ton of water?
I do. I can break it up for you, and I'll say like 1 glass before your meal, 1 glass after, 1 glass before the prayer, blah, blah, blah. I think I've seen that in the other guide. But, you know, I just find that women they're not good at this because they don't want to go to the bathroom too much. So then they won't drink water. So that's why the electrolytes are more important than the actual water.
Got it. Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. If you have any questions, I mean, sure there's probably stuff. Maybe your clients might start asking you things. Message me anytime. This is what I'll be doing literally for the next 6 weeks.
Awesome. I really appreciate that. That was so helpful. I have like a ton of notes. So I'm going to talk to them and ask them. And then if anything, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of Muslim clients?
No, I only have 2.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah,
that's good because, you know, when the Muslims hear like there's trainers that can actually accommodate to their needs, and they're more likely to seek out training and, you know, fitness. Otherwise, a lot of them, like a lot of women, like they reach out to me, they're like, oh, you understand our food, and I'm like, yeah, but, you know, I'm gonna have to tell you to not eat that kind of food. But anyway, that's what, you know, and we like our dishes are really elaborate, so you should really invite yourself to one of their iftars. So iftar, IFTAR, is like the name of the evening meal. That just means break fast in Arabic. And then the morning meal would be like suhoor or sehri. And there's a lot of Muslims that are converts, so they became Muslim after studying the religion in their adulthood, and they may not know these terms, but and then like they probably again may feel isolated. There's also Muslims that like Spanish originally, you know, or Latinos, or yeah, like Blacks, like they just come from many different backgrounds. So this is just a time where they crave that community connection. And with you checking in and saying, hey, how's it going? How's your fast? What are you eating today? Who are you eating with? Just things like that would actually make it just special for them, because sometimes they feel alone because, you know, they're minorities within a minority. So yeah, just extra check-in I think would be nice, and that would really draw more clients towards you as well.
Cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Awesome. Alrighty, so let's end this here, and